Okay, so today I'm going to be responding to this video made by someone named Chris on Culture. I don't know who Chris on Culture is. I've never heard of him before, but I came across this video, and while I agree with the overall message and conclusions of the video makes some highly pernicious remarks which perhaps inadvertently advance Jewish supremacy. And this needs to be called out. It needs to stop because this happens passively. And when it happens passively, that means it happens without people even realizing that they're doing it. Now, like I said, I do agree with the overall theme and the conclusions, but I do need to address these problematic things that he's saying. So let's just get right into it. I have a couple of timestamps here. So let's start at 3:20.
Absolutely insane. There's no other country, and I have nothing against the people of Israel. Any Israelis that I've known personally in my life have been wonderful people. So I have nothing against the people of Israel. But it's absolutely
Okay, so he's saying he has nothing against the people of Israel and Israelis are wonderful people. I don't know what Israelis he met or interacted with or if he ever went to Israel, but there is a guy on YouTube who does talk to Israelis, and you get a good sense of what Israelis are really like. So let's just watch this video and learn.
Hi.
Fasting.
Hi, nice to meet you. I don't even know you. Why are you being like that? You think it's funny that Israel's bombing innocent lives in Gaza?
We your babies, yeah.
You think it's funny?
Yeah, it's very funny.
Are you even human?
I'm human, you see. I'm not robot. These babies.
So these are the wonderful Israelis that that guy was talking about. And if you watch this guy's videos, Hamza, he live streams his conversations with Israelis, and they are all like this. In fact, many of them are far, far worse than what you just saw. In fact, let's watch one more video.
Are you in the IDF?
Yes.
Do you plan on killing kids in the future, Palestinian kids?
I want to Gaza. I don't care about the kids. I don't care about the civilians. I don't care about them.
So you'll bomb them? You'll bomb the civilians and you'll...
Yes, I will. I will bomb Gaza. I
Oh,
will
wow,
destroy Gaza.
wow. There are 1 million kids in Gaza. You want them to...
I want all Gaza.
You want half of Gaza are children. You
All
want them to
Gaza.
die.
I want to bomb Gaza. I want to make it a mall.
Are you joking or is this how you actually feel?
No, I'm dead serious.
You are very serious? You want all of Gaza to be gone?
Yes.
You want the 1 million kids in Gaza, the children, the babies, you want them to die?
All the children there will die. I don't care.
You're evil,
Kill
you're
or be killed.
disgusting, and you think this is normal. The way you're talking.
I think you got the idea. So anyone who says that they have nothing against the Israeli people is an idiot and is ignorant. They haven't actually talked to any Israelis, or they haven't watched someone who does talk to Israelis. And like I said, you can watch his unfiltered, uncensored live streams. So he's not cherry picking. He's not cherry picking and choosing like the worst individuals. No, you can watch his videos, the live streams, uncensored, and they are all like this. And like I said, some of them are even worse. Some of them actually admitted to killing children. And in fact, you know what? We don't even need to speculate on that. I'm going to show you it right now. We're going to watch it right now. Let's see. This is what real terrorists do, YouTube. You fucking idiots. Here's a soldier.
Like this, like he took a baby head and cut his head and cut his head.
How many Palestinians have you killed?
I told you, 13.
How long were you in Gaza?
82 days. How much did it take to take off this vest and clean on the Palestinian baby's blood? Like killed like this, like he took a baby head and cut his head.
So there you go. They're disgusting. They're criminal. They're murderers. And you're trying to tell me that these are good, decent human beings? And no, you can't claim that this is a minority when the overwhelming majority of Israelis support the genocide in Gaza. They support it. That's what polls have shown. Okay? And also, I'll add that compulsory conscription is a thing in Israel for both sexes. So everyone, all the civilians in Israel have to join the IDF and serve. And these atrocities were going on long before October 7th and the genocide that happened since. They were committing these atrocities and they were laughing about it. Don't believe me? Well, this dates back all the way to the Nakba. And let's see what these good Israelis say about how they participated in the Nakba. Well, those are your buddies, Osmongold. Your Jewish supremacist buddies. This is your higher culture. Let's take a look at what Jews did during the Nakba when it was first formed, when these old pieces of shit were young in 1948 when the Nakba first happened. Let's take a look. Let's listen to what they have to say.
הרגנו בהם, בלי נקיפת מצפון. הרגת, אז עשית דבר טוב. הייתי מוכן להרוג. אני אספר לה שאני הייתי רוצח. עד עכשיו, כשהיית אקדח, אתה תהרג את כולם. יאללה, רפו אותם כמו פרות. בזמן קרב, אם מישהו הרים ידיים, משהו כזה, לא לקחתי שבויים. כמה עד עכשיו אנשים הרגת ככה? לא ספרתי. אני לא יכול לדעת בחיי.
הוא תפס אישה, חתיכה צעירה, נכנס לבית אחד, הכין חדר מיטות, עם מיטה, פרטה לזיין אותה.
הילדה חזרה, סמרטוטיה. אחד אנס שם איזה ילדה בת 16, משהו כזה. אתה מבין? אבל זה מכוער מאוד. היה לנו בחור אחד, הוא נפטר, הוא היה פרא אדם. הוא לקח פשוט מאוד ורצח אותם בתוך המכלאות. חוטי ברזל כאלה, עגולים כאלה, אספו כל הגברים. הם יושבים שם כולם על הרצפה, ובא מישהו ולוקח תת מקלע ומתחיל זה, מחליף מחסנית, שלקחו את הלוויורים ורדפו אחרי חבר'ה ושרפו אותם. זה היה משהו זוועתי, וזה אסור לספר, אני לא אדבר על זה. מלחמה זה מלחמה.
Gee, I want... Okay, you get the idea. So, no, Israelis are not good people. And don't tell me about how good they are. All right, let's move on to 4 minutes.
And say my heritage, part of my heritage is Irish. So if I said, I don't like what the government of Ireland is doing, that particular policy, no one would say, well, you just hate Irish people. But if you criticize Israel's government, people say that you hate Israel and you're anti-Semitic. Now, anti-Semitism is a real thing and a horrible thing. But
anti-Semitism is a real thing and a horrible thing, really. So I agree with the first part. He's trying to make the point that criticizing a government does not mean that you're a racist. I agree with that. But then he says anti-Semitism is a real thing and a horrible thing. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear about how bad Jews have it when Jews are raping and killing children. And I just showed you videos of Jews bragging about killing children, raping and killing children. And that happened not just during the Nakba. I showed you that video of that soldier who committed those atrocities in Gaza in the past, whenever it was, past few months. And then you had Jews who are sodomizing people, sticking metal rods up people's butts, and they put these Jews on Israeli state television and paraded these people as if they're heroes. And then you had journalists who were calling for a policy of sodomizing, sticking metal rods up people's butts as a practice of policy, to the point where even one apparently had to retract his call for doing it. But that just shows how normalized these barbarians are, these savages. And you want to tell me about how bad Jews have it and how anti-Semitism is a real thing. Well, real quick, before I get into this video, because we have to watch that to demonstrate the point, I do have this here, which shows that most quote unquote anti-Semitic attacks, and by the way, the word anti-Semitism is a misnomer. It was a word that was coined by a literal racist named Maurice Steinschneider, and he was a Zionist that believed that Palestine belongs to white Austrian Jews. White Jews are not Semitic people. So it's a misnomer, but as you can see, all these real. So he said anti-Semitism is a real thing. Well, evidently these anti-Semitic attacks were not real things at all. You can see that these were hoaxes that were committed by Jews. So that's fake. And then we have the objective fact that the Secretary of State of the Confederacy was Jewish. The degree to which Jews have been oppressed, subjugated, and victimized is contradicted by the following examples of Jews in positions of power and influence in America. Judah P. Benjamin was the Secretary of State of the Confederacy. He owned over 140 black slaves, many of which he raped and beat. David Levy Yulee was a senator from Florida. He was a slave owner and was supportive of secession. He owned over 1,000 black slaves, again, many of which he beat and raped. Louis Charles Levin was a congressman who led anti-Catholic riots. He was the second person of Jewish descent elected to the United States Congress after David Levy Yulee. There is an entire list of Confederate Jews on Wikipedia. There were no legal obstacles that inhibited upward social mobility of Jews, nor were there any legal obstacles that prohibited Jews from serving in positions of power and influence in America. Most Jews who lived in America at this time lived in the South, were supportive of slavery, were supportive of secession, and were supportive of the Confederacy. So it is wrong to talk about Jews as victims when Jews are raping, murdering, and committing genocide. Okay? It is so wrong to infantilize Jews and make them the victims when they are committing the most horrific crimes known to humanity. So this needs to stop. This infantilization of Jews needs to stop. And this guy, Chris on Culture, whether he knows it or not, whether he realizes it or not, he is advancing Jewish supremacy by spouting these canards that infantilize Jews when Jews are committing genocide. Okay? I care about the feelings and the victimization of the Palestinian people who are being victimized by Jews. Okay? It seems that you only like most liberals, you only want to talk about people and label them as Jewish when you believe they are innocent or they are victims, but you don't want to call people Jews when they do bad things. And when you do that, you induce the bias that Jews can't ever do bad things, even when they rape, murder, stick metal rods up people's butts, or commit genocide. And that's wrong because that is Jewish supremacy. That is a Jewish supremacist canard. It is wrong to make yourself to be the victim when you are committing the crimes. So let's move on to the next timestamp I have here. This is the last one, and that's at 8:10.
Issues here, and I would not agree with Dan Bilzerian about Israel not existing. I think Israel has a right to exist. However,
no, Israel does not have a right to exist when that land was stolen. Okay, you don't get to steal land that doesn't belong to you just because you're a Jew. You don't get to steal land that doesn't belong to you and then say that you have a right to exist. Okay, let's use that logic. Let's use that logic. Do you really think that what you're doing is a might makes right argument? You're basically saying that it is okay to go into a land, uh, kill all the people living there, exile the rest, and then install a population that's friendly to you, and then hide behind that population, then use pacifist morons like you, Chris on Culture. You're a pacifist moron. They are manipulating pacifist morons like you to then defend their occupation of the land that they just stole because they are hiding behind an installed population. That is a might makes right argument when you just say, oh, my installed population has a right to exist even though I stole it from the native inhabitants of this land. No, you don't get to do that. Um, Israel was literally founded on terrorism. Israel was literally founded on Jewish terrorism. Let's watch this video. A Jewish terrorist became the prime minister of Israel. Menachem Begin was the leader of the Jewish terrorist organization Irgun. He was responsible for the bombing of the King David Hotel, killing 91 people. He later became the sixth Prime Minister of Israel. It says in this news clipping, wanted for murder. He became the sixth Prime Minister of Israel, and he was the founder of the Likud party. He was the leader of the Irgun Jewish terrorist organization. The Likud party was founded in 1973 by Menachem Begin, and all Likud is a relabeling of the terrorist organization Irgun. Benjamin Netanyahu is the chairman of the Likud party. So, the ruling political party in Israel is nothing more than a relabeling of a Jewish terrorist organization. The leader was Menachem Begin. So, we just learned that. Now, uh, who do you think likes Menachem Begin, who's a Jewish terrorist that killed over 90 people? Who would you think? So let's take a look at my video, which responds to elephants in the room talking about whether Jews control the media, and yes, they do. And I don't care. This is the other canard that they spout. They call things that they don't want people to believe anti-Semitic, but anti-Semitism has no bearing on the truth value of a claim, because anti-Semitism is a misnomer. As I talked about before, it is a misnomer that was coined by a literal racist named Maurice Steinschneider. But it's worse than that. Anti-Semitism is a matter of opinions, not a matter of fact. And that's not me saying that, that's the ADL saying that, because they had to admit that during court depositions when they were sued for spying on people, and they had to settle out for big bucks, and they admitted that anti-Semitism is a matter of opinion, not a matter of fact. So it doesn't go to the truth value of a claim. So Jews do control the media. That is a factual reality. But Jewish supremacists will say that's anti-Semitic, and I don't care. So let's watch this video and let's learn about what the CEO of the parent company of CNN believes about Menachem Begin. The guy who we just learned was a Jewish terrorist, and that's what founded Israel, that you say has a right to exist. Give me a break.
Paramount Global, controlled by Shari Redstone. NBC and MSNBC are owned by Comcast, which is run by Brian Roberts. CNN is part of Warner Brothers, run by David Zaslav.
Okay, I need to talk about David Zaslav right now. And yes, just for verification, he is a Jew. And GDF did an excellent video talking about how CNN is controlled by this Jewish supremacist named David Zaslav, whose hero is literally a Jewish terrorist.
David Zaslav, the CEO of CNN's parent company, is a Zionist. The Guardian leaves out the angle because it is afraid that bringing up the Israel lobby will foster anti-Semitism. But I would argue that religious ideology is the most important factor at work. Weiss provides evidence, linking an interview with Zaslav in 2019 for the Israeli I-24 news station.
I love Israel. Yeah. I remember one Christmas with my whole family walking into the King David and remembering what happened to the King David and thinking about how lucky we are to have Israel and what it took and the strength of the Haganah and the Irgun and the heart of the Israeli people to fight for a free democracy.
Zaslav is praising a right-wing terrorist force, the Irgun, for blowing up a wing of the King David Hotel in 1946. The bombing killed 91 people, including many civilians. The Irgun also led terrorist operations against Palestinians. Those include the ethnic cleansing of Jaffa, in which Palestinians were forced to flee, and the massacre in the village of Deir Yassin. Additionally, Weiss names another towering figure at CNN, that of the network's newsroom chief, one Virginia Mosley, officially the executive editor.
Joining me now to talk about the war in Israel is the former U.S. ambassador to Israel, Tom Nides. We should disclose that he is married to CNN executive vice president Virginia Mosley.
Okay, so there you go. So you want to tell me how Israel has a right to exist, has a right to defend itself? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You don't get to steal land that doesn't belong to you just because you're a Jew. That needs to stop. That needs to end. What also needs to end is the infantilization of Jews, because that is a Jewish supremacist canard that you are advancing, whether you realize it or not. They are manipulating people, brainwash people like you. And I was brainwashed too. Okay. I won't deny it. In fact, in the future video, I'm going to go over some of those brainwashing things that happened to me. But I was disabused of it at a certain point, and so do you. So, I didn't dislike your video. I was about to, because some of the things you said were really, really problematic. But, your overall conclusions, I do agree with them. And Patrick Bet David is a nut job. I agree with that. And he's an idiot and a Zionist. But you're not there yet. You're not there yet until you actually learn about these things. And that's why I made this video, because you need to be educated on the subject. I wasn't. I wasn't always educated on the subject, and I was parroting the same Jewish supremacist canards that you were, that so many other liberals have. And it needs to stop. And it's not going to stop unless we call it out when we see it.